like that? You like that?
Yeah.
Peace up, A-Town. Yeah! Okay! Usher. Lil Jon! Yeah!
Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend.
Oh my god, it's a 4-2-5 defense. All you gotta do is blitz more. All they gotta do is fire Aaron Glenn, and then you can start winning again. They're so stupid.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Hail to the king, baby.
I say more dumb things before 9 a.m. than most people say all day.
There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious.
Life is not that complicated. You get up, you go to work, you eat 3 meals, you take 1 good shit, and you go back to bed. What's the fucking mystery?
It's not fair. They were so happy. It's not gonna be okay.
What's up, y'all? This is Ifeatu Melifonwu, safety for the Detroit Lions. And I just want to take some time out to give a big shout out to Russell Wayne and Main Event Mike from the Detroit Lions Villain Squad. It's a fan page and a podcast. And I just want to say I appreciate the support of me and my team. And I encourage everyone to go check out their podcast and check out their fan page. Go Lions.
Good morning, everybody. No, good afternoon. That's where we're at. Welcome. Hello. Hey, I like it. I like it a lot. Morning, Chad. Oh, yeah. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome one, welcome all. It is Football Talk with your host, Russell Wayne. What is going on, everybody? Ooh, I'm in my brand new studio, and I'm liking it a lot right here. We're broadcasting live into the Detroit Lions News Podcast. And I know that's an older picture right there because they're probably up near 80,000 right now. We just crossed over 46,000 villains right here on the Villain Squad right there. Don't forget to go and follow the page right there. So good afternoon to everybody, all of the Lions fans, anybody that is deciding that they want to make one of us and make this one of their stops in the afternoon when it comes to talking football. What's going on, Craig? Craig in the house right here. And this is season 3, Football Talk with Russell Wayne. And we are in the off season. So I understand that only the true hardcore fan is going to be here. The true hardcore fan of football. Right now, people that aren't a hardcore fan, well, they start, looking at hockey and baseball and all the other things that don't matter. But football, 365 days a year. And right there on the Villain Squad, join the conversation. Once you get on there, make sure that you join the conversation. right here. And part of our conversation from today, and I wanted to start with this, with the Vikings right here. Justin Jefferson is looking for an annual salary of over $30 million a year. Now, he wants to reset the market when it comes to wide receivers. What do you think about that? Are the Vikings in trouble for the future? I mean, we talked about this a little bit last year, and I kind of was looking dumb when it came down to it. You know, I was kind of wrong. You know, but I wasn't all the way wrong. I did say that the Minnesota Vikings would finish at the bottom of the division, and I kind of was right. Now, they did get to share that bottom of the division with one Chicago Bears, but I did have to go in the middle of that season last year, and I had to give Brian Flores and his guys a little bit of credit, because he took a whole bunch of people that were nothings, that were, I don't want to say nothing because they were NFL football players, but they were nothing as far as, you know, expectations of these guys, and they got rid of a lot of their good defensive players, and they were able to play okay last year. But they were exposed by the end of the year with that blitzing scheme, and then they ended up falling off. But they did compete. They did overachieve when it comes down to it. But now, this wide receiver that was actually out for half of last year is wanting to get re-signed to $30 million a year. Right now, the Minnesota Vikings, as far as cap space is going, let's go take a look at these and see where they're at. They have $24 million in cap space right now. And they do not have a quarterback, and they do not have Danielle Hunter, and they don't have Justin Jefferson. Now, to me, it would be crazy to try to think that you could have a guy like Justin Jefferson to walk out the door. I wouldn't want to do that. Would you want to do that? What are your thoughts on that? You fixed the blurry, Russell. That's awesome. Cool. That might have just had something to do with, maybe this camera. I don't know. I don't want to touch it. But any thoughts out there on one Justin Jefferson? I can change the damn subject. I can move back to it if you want to. Because The Rock says, know your role and shut your mouth. Right there. That's right. Now, if you want to go over to the wrestling page, if you're into big time wrestling, I do have a wrestling page, WrestleMania. I would love to see you over there looking at some of that. But this is Football Talk with Russell Wayne, and we're talking about the offseason right here. We are Lions fans on this show, and everything is based around the Lions when it comes to this programming right here. But we were talking about this Justin Jefferson wanting $30 million. Let's move it over to what we were talking about with Jared Goff. It's the same type of conversation, is it not? You know, one Jared Thomas, Michael W. Smith, Goff, it should be a priority to extend Jared Goff. That's another thing that we've been talking about. What is the number? What is too much money? What is too much money for one Jared Thomas, Michael W. Smith, Goff? I mean, a lot of people say, okay, $50 million is too much money. Okay, well, how much do you extend him for? He's already signed to a deal for one more year. He's making $32 million and some change. And he has no guaranteed money on his contract. So what do you say about that? I don't know. Would you re-sign Jared Goff to an extension? How long should you sign the extension for? That's another question. How much? Is $30 million too much? I mean, a lot of people don't like it. I think it's perfect. I mean, he's a top 10 quarterback by every metric. So what do you say? I say you extend the man. You got to extend the man. Why wouldn't you extend the man? The guy took you to an NFC championship. You have expectations for the first time in years since Matthew Stafford was here. There was a little bit of expectation at the beginning of the year, but the Lions overachieved. Nobody expected them to go to the NFC championship. Are you freaking kidding me? No way. So I believe that you do have to re-sign Jared Goff. What do you think for the long term? I mean, we want to look in this. I mean, you're looking at salary cap. And right now, the Lions, they got some salary cap money. They got about $50 million to spend this year. Now, a lot of people are like, well, why would you want to use that on Jared Goff? Well, the thing is, you wouldn't have to use it on Jared Goff this year. I keep on going through this because I want to help. Because I want to help all the people understand that we got to re-sign Jared Goff, even if it's just for a couple years. I keep bringing this up right here. This is over the cap. And Goff is sitting there with $22 million in a base salary that you can convert to signing bonus and create extra cap space. He's already costing $32 million against the cap. So you can lower his cap number by $22 million. You lower that thing all the way down. $12 million. Let's go. Why not? Why not? Extend the guy. You could extend him out 2 years. You don't have to go this 5-year deal or whatever, $40 million a year. What is the annual salary you think that Jared Goff should get? One funky Lions fan says he's top 10 by every metric. And he's bottom 3 in every metric when pressured. Is that true? He said I think that's I would have to see some data on that, because I have seen some data where Jared Goff is 100% a beast when they're blitzing him and they're adding extra pressure. Now, when the blocking breaks down, welcome to the NFL. In the Zoe podcast says, ain't no QB signing for no $40 million. 40 for 2 years? That's crazy. Goff will be 45 plus million. That's what Chad says. And there's something to that. There's something to that, 45 plus million. I would say Chad has got us right here in the sweet spot when it comes to Jared Goff. 45 million is about what you can expect. Right there. That would be him not really giving us a deal, but giving us about right there. Right there. Is that worth it? Is that worth it? Big Dan Davis says that I believe Holmes will eventually offer Goff an extension, but I think his floor will be around $50 million per year. In the Zoe podcast says Goff signing 45 plus million a year. That's understandable. I remember when Matt Stafford signed his deal, when he did his extension with the Lions, that everybody was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. He's not a top 5 quarterback, but you're paying him like a top. It's whoever's getting the extension, it's their turn. And the way that the market works with quarterbacks is when it's your turn, you're going to get paid like a top 10 guy. So the way that I would look at it would be if you can get him, and I like that number right there where Chad is at, that $45 million per year. And if you could get him for that or less, I would feel like he's giving you a hometown discount. If he signs over a $45 million deal, you're getting into fair. You know, between 45 and 50 is just kind of the going rate for a quarterback. I agree with Innazo right here when he was saying $50 million. Goff is signing a $50+ million a year. That's what his production, that is what he would be worth on the open market. And I, if anybody wants to disagree with me, feel free to do it. But I'm looking at these numbers right here. And if you can get it below 40, I mean, it would be insane. That would be insane. But nobody, now in the Zoe podcast, I'll throw this at you. Nobody thought that the Lions were going to re-up with, or still have Ben Johnson on their team. They have built something here in Detroit that is sustainable, and for whatever reason, people want to play here. And I think Goff knows in his mind. He made a comment in the Zoe podcast. He made a comment that said he's got enough money. So I have a feeling that he is going to give us some form of hometown discount. But I don't know at what level. But I wouldn't really care. You got to keep your quarterback. You want to keep your core here. I want to see them sign Jonah Jackson again and Graham Glasgow. You want to keep this band together, don't you think? Fred Peterson, our Patreon. Thank you, Fred, for being such a supporter of the show. He says, my problem with Goff contract is we don't sign him, we're all in on Hooker. In turn, our Super Bowl run is over for at least the next 2 to 3 seasons. Rarely does a rookie quarterback and come out and make it to the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes made it to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl in his second year. Was it his second year? Almost made it there. Was it his third year? But I agree with you, Fred, right there. Because when you're looking at this, you definitely want to be able to take these players and you want to be able to work them in. You want to bring them up to speed. I'm trying to think of the word that I'm looking for. You want to develop these guys. And if they can develop these guys by having Jared Goff on the in here, showing him how to be a pro, I mean, I would feel pretty good about taking Hendon Hooker into the 4th year. And even if you do re-sign Goff, he's a top quarterback. You could trade him if you wanted to move on from him, and he's still got value. But right now, as it sits, when you look at these numbers, that $0 for guaranteed money isn't going to stand. They are going to do something with Goff this offseason. I mean, they would have to. That would be very disrespectful after the season that Goff just had to let him go into the season with 0 guaranteed money. That's just my opinion on that. But what do you got? What are your thoughts on that Jared Goff contract? Is this a necessity for you? Who are the Lions' core players? That was another thing I wanted to get to today. This is a very different offseason for the Lions. Very different. Because in years past, it's been, you need to fill every position. You're going into the offseason. Oh my God, we just need some talent. but we have core players at all positions. When you think of guys that you have for the rest of their rookie deals because of how well Brad Holmes is drafted, you're looking at a lot of really, really good core players, because all 23 of Brad Holmes' draft picks are still with the team in one form or another. That's insane. That's insane. So when you're going into this offseason, you're not trying to fill a gazillion holes. I mean, I'm thinking 3 or 4 impact players. Impact players. And this team's competing for another Super Bowl. I mean, to get to a Super Bowl. You know, they were competing for a Super Bowl this year. No one expected it, but next year they'll definitely be competing for a Super Bowl, I think. They may be competing for a Super Bowl without winning as many games. So, how can we make this team better? Who are the Lions' core players? Well, there's one of them. On the offensive line, you know, Penei Sewell and Taylor Decker. There you go. There's some core players. And Taylor Decker's another dude that you can extend. Look at that. Look at that base salary money right next to Taylor Decker. $12.95 million. That's how much can be converted to a signing bonus to extend him out. And when you look at Taylor Decker, I mean, he's the first pick from the 2016 draft, 16th overall, 8 seasons. He's been a stud, but he's another guy with zero guaranteed money. So when you got zero guaranteed money, that's a good spot to extend a guy. So there you go. When you got core players, and I do believe that they'll extend Taylor Decker this year. And why wouldn't you? He's only 31. I think he's only 31 years old. Yeah. I mean, tackles aren't running backs. Running backs, you know, they don't have a big shelf life because, you know, they're getting hit by a car on every play. But, you know, offensive guards and tackles and offensive linemen, they seem to have longer shelf lives. I still think that Taylor Decker could sign a 4 or 5 year extension, and he's still going to be playing at a high level. I mean, you may move him inside eventually. I mean, I don't know, but there's your core player. Now, Frank Ragnow, I mean, he's going to play. He's going to play on one toe. You know Frank Ragnow, Frank the Tank. He was our player of the year for the Villain Squad. We value offensive linemen right here on the Villain Squad. Frank the Tank. So you have 3 really good offensive linemen for the future. And then I really think that they need some help there, you know, from behind. They drafted Corby Sorsdahl when it comes to the offensive line. And when it comes to core players, they need more core offensive linemen. You know, you're going to have Penei Sewell here. I mean, I think that he's a lifer. I mean, you're going to keep him. He's going to end up being your franchise left tackle of the future. But down the road, you need to get some more. You need to get some more offensive linemen marinating. Now, as far as the skill positions, I don't think you need to invest as much long term. Right there, you got Amon-Ra St. Brown. You're about ready to, you know, make him one of your franchise players. You got Jamison Williams. He's still got 3 years with that ability. You got Khalif Raymond signed. You got Sam Laporta going into the second year. So you're looking really good at skill position. You got good running backs. got 2 more years with Monty. You just got Gibbs. You don't really got to worry there. So offensively, you're looking in the draft. You're looking for the future on the offensive line. But outside of that, I mean, you got your core players. You got your core players on offense. Now, defensively, you know, on the defensive line, you like Aleem McNeil, right? Now, you're also you're hoping that some of your other players and that are going to start developing a little bit more, like your Broderick Martin. You used the 3rd round draft pick on him. He's still in the team. But they have proven that they can develop players. You got to break out from Aleem McNeil. You got to break out from Derek Barnes, had a good season. Ifeatu Melifonwu, those were the players. These are players that are going into their 4th year. They got a good development system. So I feel confident with guys like Broderick Martin to develop defensive line. So we're talking defensive line now. And then all the other players were, you know, depth pieces. Guys like Benito Jones and stuff. You're not counting on those guys for the future. So you draft or you go into free agency and you look for guys for the future. But core players, you got Aleem. I think I like what you see from Broderick. I thought you saw flashes from Josh Paschal. So, but you're going to want to see him more out of him going into his 3rd year. You definitely want to see more out of Levi Onwuzurike. He's going into a contract year. Maybe he's not one of your core players. So I think they're going to be drafting guys there. Defensive tackles, you want guys of the future. You want somebody who can sit right next to Aleem. Now, I put Josh Paschal in there. He was drafted as an end, so you might see him as a pass rusher. But let's get into these ends. Aiden Hutchinson, he's a pass rusher of the future, but that's where you need help. Do you bring back James Houston? Is he a core player? Josh Paschal, a core player. Romeo Okwara, he's probably not coming back. Julian Okwara is gone. So that's going to be a position that they're going to be looking at. Defensive end, getting to the passer. Getting to the passer. Who are the core players? These are players you don't have to spend too much money on it. Fred says, I agree, Russ. We need to sign Goff to a minus $50 million in order to keep him on track to a Super Bowl. Now, I don't mind the $50 million as long as it's like they're not going to invest 5 years into that. I got in the Zoe podcast. He's agreeing with me from my, looks like he's agreeing with my quarterback take. Big Dan Davis says, if you pay Amon-Ra an extension that pays him $25 million a year, there will be enough cap. Will there be enough cap to pay Goff $45 to $50 million per year? Yes, there will be. I was trying to explain it. I'll do the best that I can because this is one of my specialties. I love cap stuff. I do love cap stuff. But when you look at Goff, if you want to extend him, it is going to help you re-sign Amon-Ra St. Brown because you're going to be able to convert his base salary to signing bonus. So that's going to lower your cap number. So that extending Goff is going to lower the cap number for this year, and it will raise it for the next 2 years, but you're spreading it out. So even if you wanted to move on from Goff, let's say you extended him, he added 2 years to his deal. He'd play this year and then he'd have 2 more years. So he's probably going to play this year, next year, and then you're going to have an opportunity to move off from him. And, you'll probably take a 10 million cap hit in that last year or whatever, but that's all right. That's why you're doing it, because you're looking to win this year, Dan. So re-signing and extending Jared Goff and Taylor Decker is actually going to help the cap situation for this year. It's going to add. Well, of course, and I hope he gets $52 million a year. Hell yeah. Of course you do. Of course you do, because you're in the same similar situation, because right now your wide receiver in the Zoe podcast is trying to get that. He's trying to get that QB money when it comes to these Minnesota Vikings. They got some questions to answer. I think that Kwesi's on the hot seat when it comes with this. He's made a couple questionable decisions. You also say Hooker's not good. I don't know where you get that. That dude was a Heisman Trophy candidate going into that game. He got injured. He probably would have went somewhere in that seat. You know, Bryce Young went 1 and CJ Stroud went 2. He was right in that talk. He would have went before Levis. So I don't know. I think that's just hate. I mean, the guy's almost a 75% completion for his college career. That's pretty good. Big Dan Davis says, I'm on the fence about this whole extension to Goff. Be honest, on one hand, he helped us get a division title in an NFC title game. On the other hand, you may not have enough to pay the weapons around him. But that's the thing about it, Dan, is you're managing cap room here. And they've done a good job drafting, and they don't have to worry about that for a couple years. You know, you're going to pay your weapon and Amon-Ra, but you ain't got to pay Jamison Williams right away. You already have Raymond under contract. You already have Laporta under contract. I mean, this is a good problem to have. Because one way or another, I mean, the only thing that's bad is the first year or next year. If you sign him to a 2 or 3 year extension, I mean, he's going to play this year, next year, right? So I wouldn't worry about that as much. We're in a cap plus for a reason. We get our all-in year, and I think that this is going to be it. Fred says, I watched him at Tennessee, Zoe. I also watched Tim Tebow and RG3. Enough said. I have no doubt that Hooker was great in college, but many great college QBs are bums in the NFL. I don't know if Hooker is the guy yet. I haven't seen him in the pros yet. And that's the chance you take with every quarterback, Fred. Every single quarterback. You don't know if he's going to be any good. I mean, I could have predicted Bryce Young wasn't going to be that good because he's 5'1". I mean, and that's just it. You know, in the quarterback position, you're going to take hits. And, you know, if you're 5'1" and 180 pounds, how many hits can you land underneath of a 300-pound dude before your career's over? But, you know, Hooker's bigger. So, a One Funky Lion Sands, LMAO, like the exact same offense that most colleges run, what Mahomes was doing. Let's not act like Goff is going through reads here with Ben Johnson either. I don't know where you're going with that. Jared Goff is absolutely going through reads. Jared Goff is one of the smartest quarterbacks in the NFL. I mean, what he lacks in physicality, he makes up with the fact that he knows the offense. And when he is kept clean, this is one of the best quarterbacks in football. I mean, this is not a stretch here to think that, like, this is that it's not like you're taking a chance on a guy that you don't know what he is. Jared Goff has proven he's been an excellent quarterback his whole career. And everybody likes to cite that New England game where they say that he disappeared. Well, go check the tape again and watch Brandon Cooks drop a touchdown pass. Watch Jared Goff go through some things. to where he was making plays and other players were letting him down. So I understand the quarterback gets most of the brunt, but Jared Goff has done nothing but be awesome for the Lions. This guy deserves a contract. And when you look at this thing, that zero guaranteed money, oh my God. The fact that Jared Goff is not in the media right now complaining about his contract should tell you even more about Jared Goff. This guy's going into this year with zero guaranteed money. If that was any other player, if that was an end, that was a wide receiver, if that was a running back, people have complained about their contracts over way less. That dude is going into this year, has not made any public complaints. He's willing to go into this year. He's not even complaining about it. That's awesome. That's awesome that he doesn't complain about that. If you've ever played anything professional, that you want that guaranteed money. If Goff blows out his ACL while he's playing golf, they could cut him. They could cut him. And he'd have nothing. There's no guaranteed money on that contract. There is some equity right there. All right. Brent says, so true, Russ. We have a very, very young team. And this is what's different, because this is where I'm going back with Dan. Dan, first of all, Big Dan Davis is helping me so much on the wrestling page, WrestleMania. I don't know if any of you guys are into professional wrestling. I have a wrestling page too that I started up. And my goal is 10,000 followers on that wrestling page. And when I get there, I think I'm going to do another podcast kind of like this one, where we're talking wrestling instead. But thank you, Dan Davis, for helping me with the wrestling page and help me get that off the ground. If that ain't your bag, just forget that I just said anything right there. Corey says, what about a Patrick Mahomes deal? His deal was so that they could keep core guys. Here's the thing about old, long contracts. Long contracts can kind of work both ways, because that money can get available, because you're not spending a lot at the beginning, but when you restructure, you're doing it so you can get the cap number lower, right? So if you sign a long deal, you would have the opportunity 3 or 4 years into that contract to restructure that deal. And I think that that's what they're talking about, Corey. And that's what we have available to us with the Jared Goff thing right here. This Jared Goff thing this is how you contend. Don't get scared of this, Dan. Don't get scared of this, because this is what good teams do. They extend their good players. And in this case, it's Jared Goff and Taylor Decker. These are guys that you want on your team. He is only signed through this year. So you add 2 years on that deal. That means that you're adding a couple years of development on Hendon Hooker. You can find out if he's even the guy. Worst case scenario is, you got Jared Goff. I mean, he's only 29 years old. You could sign him to a 5-year deal, if that's what they're going to do. But you got equity in Jared Goff and Taylor Decker. So with that, they're going to be able to free up another $20 million worth of cap on top of the $50 million that they already have. So we need some players. We need some secondary. Brent says that Stephon Gilmore has been pointed at us. BDD, Big Dan Davis. What does that mean? What does that mean? Is that because I love that? I mean, his nephew, or is that his cousin, Stephen Gilmore, already on the team? Stephon Gilmore is that would be a great dude to bring here. Because that's what we need. We need a a solid number one corner. You know, I mean, Cameron Sutton was our number one corner. Well, Emmanuel Mosley was signed to be our number one corner, and they waited for him, and then after 2 plays, he injured his other ACL. So you bring in Sutton to be the guy, the second corner. Well, we need him to be back at that, because Cameron Sutton is not a number one corner, but he's a good corner. I will defend Cameron Sutton because I think that he can guard your number 2 and your slot guys, and you can depend on him for it. But we need a number one guy. And Stephon Gilmore would be a great upgrade to the secondary. I think we need 2. I think we need 2 of them, and that would be one for sure. You can be a Goff guy and want him to get the bag, but hating on Hooker with no proof is just ignorant. I'm not saying trade Goff now and start Hooker, and Goff has been solid. I wouldn't say awesome. Well, one funky Lions fan, I just go in reality when it comes with this. And reality is, by stats, by PFF, he's top 10 quarterback at the very least. If you want to hate on him, you can't hate him out of the top 10 with any rational idea. And actually, I can love on him to a top 5 quarterback, and I can back it up with stats. Now, you can give it all to the offensive line. That's cool. I mean, every quarterback's going to play better with a good offensive line. I'm not saying that he's the end all be all, but he's proven it. He's proven it. I don't know what Hooker is. I like it. Goff knows he will be taken care of. Brent says there's a good chance that he will. Big Dan Davis, Patrick Mahomes is also younger than Goff. And well, so that's part of why he got that long-term deal. Goff is almost 30, and there's no way that they would give him a 10-year deal. That's true. But they could extend him by, 3 or 4, 5 years. I really don't want them to do that because they drafted Hendon Hooker. I mean, I don't know why anybody would hate on Hooker. I agree with one funky Lions fan on that. There's no reason to hate on Hooker. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you just don't like him as a person or something. Then the name's kind of, it is what it is. But I live in Flint, Michigan, near Dort Highway. We know all about hookers. Right up and down. Yeah. Brent says if we get a QB, if a QB gets a big bag, he won't have any help. Gilmore from Dallas. Dallas is 19 million in the block. The QB, if a QB gets a big bag, okay. Let's bring something to the table right here that you're probably not thinking about. If the QB gets a big bag, right now, Jared Goff counts $32 million against the cap. So even if you sign him to, let's say, a $45 million, that's only going to cost you $15 million this year because he already counts 32 against. So I don't know. I don't want to create the illusion out there, Brent, that it's going to cost us $50 million this year, because when they project that $50 million that we have available, that already projects Jared Goff as $32 million of that. And if they extend Goff, that $32 million number is going to come down because the base salary is going to get converted to signing bonus. So the cap number could get lowered to $10 million for this year. And then they spread that out. You know how they do contracts? That's how every contract works. It's like, that's the advantage of re-signing these guys. Big Dan Davis, I think we need a solid number one. Free agency. I'm glad that you brought that up. That's what we'll do. Let's go into free agency and see if we can't find some cornerbacks cornerbacks. Let's see who's available. Cornerbacks. Share this tab. Let's get it in there. There we go. So, we're probably not going to get Jalen Johnson. Would you take Snead? They may not franchise tag him. He's only 27 years old. They project him at $17.5 million a year. There's one that's available for you. I've seen Kendall Fuller off-season mocked here. That looks a little more cap friendly. And Kendall Fuller's probably a better player than Sutton. The only thing I don't like about Fuller is the height. I mean, I think we need a long corner, but maybe we can look for that in the draft. This is one of Jeremy B's man crushes right here. So this is what's available, guys. Who do you like? Who do you like? Gilmore from Dallas. Brent says that Dallas and 19 million in the red, not block. Yeah, that's a good thing. We can be buyers this year. The Lions can be buyers. And the thing is like, if you saw how Brad Holmes was working it last year, I mean, he'll get a couple of these guys on 1-year deals. Somebody's going to come here cheap, that's good, that wants to win a chip. Who do you think it's going to be? I think Stephon Gilmore, for some reason, he keeps screaming to me. Like, that. I mean, he's a little bit older, but, you know, that's that veteran presence. I think that I think that 10 million, I mean, I think they give him cheaper than that. I think Brad Holmes is pretty good at negotiating. And whether it's Stephon Gilmore or, you know, Fuller or one of these other guys, I think that Brad Holmes is going to be able to work a deal. I just saw, where'd I go? Right there. They need to. I just saw that Sutton needs to restructure his deal. Cameron Sutton. All right, let's explore this. What would that even look like? Right there. Today, his base salary is $10 million. The cap number's 12. So yeah. Sutton could restructure. He's got $9 million in guaranteed for this year. I don't think this would be a good year to restructure him. He's on a 3-year deal. I think it'll be a little more malleable when it comes to next year. Because if you look at his number in 2025, Susan, if you look at his number in 2025, Cameron Sutton, you look all the way over, that's the fourth thing over, the zero guaranteed money. That's where you want to be at. So, you know, Sutton's in there this year. I mean, I know that he didn't play awesome last year at times, but there were times that he did play well. And as a number 2 guy, if you bring in a dude like one of these top free agents, then you're going to be able to just move Sutton down the depth chart a little bit. And Sutton ain't that bad if he's covering number 2. He's covering number 2, number 3. You just can't ask him to cover Justin Jefferson. Who the hell can you ask to cover Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb? I mean, I wouldn't even guarantee that any of these guys that we could bring in would be able to do that. Those are some of the best wide receivers. So I think Sutton kind of gets a little bit of a bad rap. When you look at it, I mean, maybe, I don't even know. Let's look at his PFF stuff. I don't even know how well he played. Cameron Sutton. Let's look at this. Is this popping through? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's a better run defender, and he wasn't so good in coverage. But he's always asked to cover the number one guy. And I know that's what it is, but you ain't being paid. $10 million a year. $10 million a year, that ain't all that. That ain't all that. $10 million a year is like number 2 cornerback money. Oh, there's Chad again. Yeah, I would love to see it if Sutton could restructure. Brent agrees with me. Sutton is a good number 2 for sure. We need to get someone like Gilmore and then draft a cornerback in the 3rd round. Let's go take a look at that. You want to bring up some of these? We can go into the tools. Let's go into the tools. The big board. Let's look at that big board. We're going into the team needs. Let's look at these cornerbacks. And this is where I really agree with you, Chad. Like, I like or Brent and Chad. This Mitchell, this guy keeps on moving up the board. And when you look at those PFF grades, 91.5, I mean, he's the best cornerback in college. But then you got that whole thing with Toledo, just the level of competition. That's going to be the only downfall. But he's got the size. He's 6 feet. And I liked it. 13th overall prospect. Now, would they trade up to get a guy like that? I don't know. Because when you look at, they have like 14. Look at all these guys. I'm going to kind of just scroll through these so you guys can see it. But so and when you look at the PFF rank, this is overall. This isn't just cornerbacks. He's not Cooper Deshaun is not the number 1. He's not the number 7 cornerback. He's the number 7th overall prospect in the draft. So 13, 14. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 players that are in the top 100 prospects in this year's draft. So what does that tell me? That tells me it, and I'll tell you what, Chad, if we could get the cornerback from Toledo, Mitchell, with our 29th overall pick, I would jump up and down, and I'd be right there with you. I'd be right there with you. But what this tells me, when I'm looking at just the first glance at this draft, it tells me that since we own 4 of the top 100 picks, that there's a good chance that we're going to land 1 or 2 of these players in the draft. So I love any of these guys. I want the size. I'm looking for size. How about Nate Wiggins? Guy has played well. He's 6'2". You can't teach that. Kool-Aid now I'll tell you what. That was a post that Main Event Mike put up with the guy licking his chops about drafting a dude named Kool-Aid. Now, if we could draft a guy named Kool-Aid, that would be pretty good. But he's 6'1". And if we want to look at his old draft profile, I don't even know if they have anything put in there yet. But it tells you, it breaks it down within snaps. And it even breaks down what types of snaps that they are. How many receptions that he allowed. How many times he was targeted. And Kool-Aid looks like he was actually better last year. But these are some of the players. These guys are going to run in shorts. But knowing that they have these guys rated that high, there's your Michigan boy. Number 53rd overall prospect. You think they target him? He's only 5'11". A 6'3" corner from Oregon. Kyrie Jackson, Jerrion Jones, Cam Hart. He had a real good year this year. That seems like the size right there. I like that. 83.3 overall. I mean, but who knows? In Brad we trust, right, guys? That's the way I feel. That's the way I feel. In Brad we trust. Chad says that Kool-Aid won't be there at 29. Hey, Chad, were you aware of these other players, though, on here? I mean, if Kool-Aid ain't there, okay, let's say that it does go in this order, and maybe he does go before these players. But Cooper DeShawn from Iowa, that's a guy that played with Jack Campbell last year. Nate Wiggins, Quinyon Mitchell, Terriana Arnold. Looks like Kool-Aid McKinstry isn't even the best player on his team. So, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You think 5 cornerbacks will go off the board before we pick at 29? Just something to think about. I don't know. Steve says that Cam Hart was awesome this year. And it really don't matter what team, I mean, I'm a Lions fan, and I know that most of the people that are watching right now are Lions fans, but there's a couple Viking and, other fans from the North in here. Like Steve is real. Yeah. So, I mean, I know that he's looking at it from a Green Bay Packer lens. Green Bay had a good year. I mean, if I'm being totally honest, I think they were going to be going blow for blow with Green Bay for the next 10 years. I think they found another good quarterback in Jordan Love.
It's my quarterback.
And we're going to have to battle him. As Lions fans, you're going to have to battle. To battle these Green Bay Packers. Yeah, and we love Steve. I love any real football fan, honestly. I'm a fan of football. And I think it's important that you support your team, in the hardest core of way. We sing the Lions fight song after every touchdown and field goal. Sometimes we post them. Bunch of drunk guys screaming at the television, cussing, swearing. All good things. All good things. Lord, I'm sorry for the stuff that we say during these songs. Lord, I hope you can forgive me. But I enjoy talking football. I enjoy being able to, especially this time of year. This is actually my favorite time of the year. When we get into how can we make our team better, and I wanted to help out this year to a lot of people. I hope that you guys enjoy some of the stuff I'm throwing up here on the salary cap, because I think it's important. You want to be able to give good education and good information on this stuff. And if you don't know about this stuff, I want to be able to help you. So if I spend a lot of time on this type of stuff, it's because, I want everybody to see, this $50 million that the Lions have, it's just, I'm not saying it's a made up number, but there's so many ways that you can manipulate that $50 million to work in your favor. And the Lions have a lot of chips this year that they can use. And, you know, when you look at these people in the final year of their contract, Jared Goff and Taylor Decker are the two main ones that I'm looking at. And they already released Tracy Walker, so that was the other thing. John Kaminsky might be on board with that just because of how much he's charging. But, you know, when you take a loan out, you get to the end of the loan, you know, that's when you can take equity out on your house, right? And they got some equity in Jared Goff, and they got some equity in Taylor Decker, and they can make some major things happen this year. You know, you want to re-sign Glasgow. That's not going to break your bank. I mean, I think you want to bring back Jonah Jackson, and I think they will bring back Jonah Jackson as long as he doesn't try to kill him with what they, and, you know, keep that band together. Chase Lucas is still on the team. Yep. And Chad, don't we believe in the development? It's development. You start believing in the development when you see guys breaking out in their third year. You know, you think of some of these players. I mean, this is a good core, guys. These guys are signed. You know, you got Sewell, you got Hutchinson. Angelone's on here for a couple more years. You got David Montgomery's on here for a couple more years. John Kaminsky might be on his way out the door, right? He's only got $500,000 in guaranteed money, and his base salary's $5.5 million. They can save $4.6 million by cutting him. And that's not even to say that he wouldn't come back to the team. He's just not going to get that much money. Jamison Williams is here. Jahmyr Gibbs is here. Jack Fox is here. Jack Campbell's going to be here. Khalif Raymond is going to be here. Levi Onwuzurike is kind of a, you know, he's got a lot to prove. He's another guy that could get cut, you know, to save that $1.5 million. Sam Laporta's here. Josh Pascal's here. Josh Pascal played better at the end of the year, guys, after he came back from that injury. Brian Branch. These, I mean, look at these. Look at the core of this team, guys. Ifeatu Melifonwu breaking out this year. He's in a contract year. Kirby Joseph. You're going to re-sign Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's going to be part of your future and core. Derek Barnes. Yeah. Broderick Martin. And, you know, and a lot of these other guys are just depth pieces. But, I mean, I'm encouraged. When you look at that, you got to be encouraged because there's not a lot of holes there. Yeah. Fred Peterson says, I'm sure that I'm just so happy Big V is gone. Yeah. It's really too bad with Big V, Fred, because Big V, I mean, it was really injuries that really took him off. And, it wasn't the not the one or the desire, you know, that not that he wasn't good enough. He couldn't get healthy. And I always feel bad when that can happen. Just finishing up these comments and then I'm going to let you guys go, man. This has been a fun conversation right here. Chase Lucas makes the 53-man watch. It's possible. It is possible. Fred Peterson, the best ability is his availability, and I'm looking forward to the kicker episode. Oh, Chad, God bless you, brother. God bless you. Oh man, it's this is Football Talk with Russell Wayne. Please go over to our page. This is our page. Join the conversation, folks. We got a lot of content. We got content coming out. This is football. 365 days a year. We got 8 to 15 pieces of content coming out every single day. Go join the conversation. Like this content on this page. Go follow the page. But, you know, we ask the questions and we're going to start featuring the things that we're featuring on our page. So I would love you to already be involved in the conversation on there, but go follow the page. We got 46,000 villains that took this journey with us this year, all the way to the NFC Championship. I think we can do more. You know, the villain squad, we're trying to get to 50,000. Let's get to 50,000 villains before the draft. Share this content. Join the conversation. Be part of the schedule with us. I mean, the NFL does a great job with this. I mean, we're about ready to get into the scouting combine. Is that crazy? The scouting combine is going to be in a week. And that's why I'm hitting all of this free agency stuff. Because right after the scouting combine, they're going to get into that legal tampering and all these free agents are going to start coming off the market. So we'll have plenty of time to talk about the scouting combine. And that's when we're really going to hit it. When that scouting combine comes in there, we're going to be talking about it every day, starting on February 27th. We're going to cover that whole thing. I don't want to even talk about it too much other than in names. Because right now, the first moves that is going to be made is on March 13th. Or March 11th through 13th, the legal tampering. That's when the teams are going to start transforming. The scouting combine, that's fine. That's going to put this PFF list in a different order. You know, some guys are going to move up, some guys are going to move down. But we appreciate being able to come on here and talk about this. In the mornings, don't forget Smoking Jeremy B. He's got the show at 11 a.m. He's talking Lions football. He's been breaking down all of these prospects and everything like that. So, faith, family, and football. That's what we preach here. There's a link in our description that if you use that link, then you are helping us do outreach in our community in Genesee County. We're in Burton, Michigan. Pastor Kevin Galloway, that's my pastor. I play on the praise and worship team. I get to praise the Lord at my church. So if you're in the area, Sundays, 9:30 a.m. If you're using that link, just know that you're helping outreach in Genesee County, and we appreciate you. Faith, family, and football. The family and football, that's easy, guys. We're fans. This is the offseason. Use football. Use football to spend time with your family. Don't let football use you. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again tomorrow afternoon. Football Talk with Russell Wayne.
What's up, y'all? This is Ifeatu Melifonwu, safety for the Detroit Lions. And I just want to take some time out to give a big shout out to Russell Wayne and Main Event Mike from the Detroit Lions Villain Squad. It's a fan page and a podcast. And I just want to say I appreciate the support of me and my team. And I encourage everyone to go check out their podcast and check out their fan page. Go Lions.
It's not fair. They were so happy. It's not gonna be okay.
What's going on, Russell Wayne and the Main Event 365 Network? This is Jason Kabinda from the Detroit Lions. Here to give y'all a shout out, man. We appreciate all the support, man. Know you guys are big fans. Know that you guys are rooting for us to take the North this year, and we're going to do just that, man. Appreciate you guys so much. Just want to give y'all a shout out. Y'all have a great day.